Hello everyone, and my name is Gail Mikashonis. I work at Quality Sewing and Vacuum. I work in the Puyallup location, and today we're going to learn how to use that cap driver that you have for your PR, whether it's a 10 needle, a 6 needle. We're going to just work through how to mount the driver and how to sew out the hat and how to hoop a hat and all that. So join me. Hi everyone, we're back. And we're going to learn how to use the cap driver on the PR, either 10 needle or 6 needle. They work all the same way. So we're talking about making a design for our hat, and we have a cap driver. Now this comes in 3 parts. There is actually the driver, which will hold the hoop, and that we're going to mount to the machine. We have the hoop, which is going to hold the cap, and we have the mounting jig. So the mounting jig screws onto your table because you need to have it very stable to give your hoop support. This is not a flat hoop, so you can't hoop on the table. So I'm going to snap that hoop back into the mounting jig, and I'm going to open up that hoop little swing apart thing. Very technical terms around here, right? Okay, I'm going to take a ball cap, and I'll probably open up the back. The sweatband I'm gonna lift up so that I don't embroider the design through the sweatband. It's no fun. And I'm going to get a piece of stabilizer. So I'm just going to tuck that stabilizer right up inside there. And then I'm going to push this onto the cap driver. Now the arm here of the hoop has a split. So I'm going to put one piece around the inside and one piece around the outside of that brim. And there's also a little red dot on this particular hoop, and I'm going to try to line that up with the center line on my hat. There's some little teeth on this part of the hoop, so I'm going to dig those down right into that seam between the hat and the bill, and then I'm going to take the whole thing, and there's a little switch or one of those little ratchet buckles on this end. I'm going to reach around and fasten that down here on the bottom on this part of the hoop. It's going to be a snug fit, and snap the little clasp closed, and I should have a nice tight hooping here. Now to keep the bill out of the way of the machine, I'm going to just give it a little push, and I'm going to flip this piece around. And this is the retainer piece for that bill, and don't worry, it'll go back into shape later. Okay, so we do have our cap driver, or our cap hoop. Now I'm going to take that off of the frame by pulling on the hat hoop and pushing with my thumbs on the mounting jig. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside. There is nothing holding this up, so don't crush this. Okay, I'm just going to set it aside until I'm ready to put it onto the machine. I'm going to take off the frame that I had on before, the A-frame, and there's some little screens up here at the top that looks like all my little different hoop sizes up there. When I start taking this frame off, you'll see that magically the machine knows that I've taken that off, and now I have a little cap driver hoop up there. So set that aside, and then I am going to mount this one. Now the black pieces need to go towards you. This part of the frame needs to go into the machine. And I've chosen a little design. It's a little Halloween cat, and I'm going to say set and edit end. Now it knows that I have a cap hoop on there, and it has flipped my design upside down automatically, which is very, very cool. But just like that other frame where I've got that weird shape, I have a hole here and I've got a slot. The screw is actually going to go in the slot. When you take this out of the box, there are 2 small screws and they're screwed in right here and right here. And that keeps this bar very tight to the driver. You have to take those screws out. That is for travel only. Okay, this needs to actually move or spin against this bar. And there's a little wire that makes it do that. So if you leave those screws in there and then mount this to the machine, again, it's going to get very, very angry at you. So we have 2 large screws on the bottom and 2 small screws on the top, and we're going to make sure that those are loose but not falling out. We don't want to try to put those in when it's upside down. There is a square right here in the frame or the driver, and that's going to fit right around here. So that's where I'm going to aim first, and then I'm just going to take this bar and set it up over the top of that little pin. On the frame here. Okay, then I'm going to take those 2 screws and I'm going to screw that in. Now you can do big ones first, little ones second, or little ones first, big ones second. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to get these all the way tight. Okay, and this part will still move. Okay, I'm going to push it all the way to the back, and then I'm going to reach up underneath and I'm going to tighten those big screws on the bottom. All right, now it's very stable. The first time you put this on, you are going to have to go through a little calibration process. There's some screws in here to loosen. It's all covered in your box, and once you've done that, you're good to go. Also, when you get a cap driver, there is a little black piece that looks like this, and that is going to cover your needle plate, and that's just in an effort to make that just a little more curved, because you're not sewing flat anymore, you're sewing on a curve. All right, now we're going to mount our hoop. So I'm going to take that hoop. Now the bill is not going to go in this way, right? So I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. I'm going to work it past those needles, flip it back upright, and line up the hoop with the driver. Now if I just push really hard on the whole machine, it's going to push this arm out of alignment. So I don't want to push, I want to squeeze. I'm going to squeeze the hoop and the little back of the driver at the same time. Okay, snap it into place, and I am good to go. The carriage will move. I can turn on my little live camera, and I can see exactly where that design is going to land on my hat on the screen, and I can move it down as much as I can, and now my design will stitch out on my hat just the way it's supposed to. All right, good luck. If you have any questions at all, you can always give us a call at our qualitysewing.com on the website, or you can call our online team, or you can come into one of the stores and ask your questions there. Have a wonderful day.